Okay, our time is running short, so I have a proposal for you gentlemen. I have 4 good questions here. I'd like to make it a rapid fire round, which will be a minute for responses on these, in order to get more of these questions asked. Are you both good with that?
Sure.
Okay, so timers, please keep it to a minute. There's a lot of talk about business growth and housing development, but what about parks and recreation and green space? What are your ideas to make South Jordan a green, progressive city? We end with you, we'll start with you.
Great. Oh great, this is a great one. Did anybody notice that when 114 was widened, that they put in park strip grass? And I've made the case that that should have been xeriscape. We have some very beautiful options that we can use brick and trees, we can use desert landscape plants. We've got an awful lot of grass in the city. And so xeriscaping is basically to say, what are the areas, and we're not talking about the areas where kids are playing soccer, but what are the areas of the city that aren't used, that we don't put our bare feet on, that we could make beautiful, but in a more desert environment. I like what Phoenix has done. I like a lot what Daybreak has done. Daybreak's shown some good examples of a mixture of grass and xeriscaping. I think the city's got to turn that way as water gets more expensive, and that's an environmentally friendly policy as well.
Well, I'm a little bewildered with the response. It didn't sound like he was interested in creating any green space, but removing it. I quite honestly feel the opposite. I think that we need to take and do more, and that's why I worked hand in glove with Salt Lake County to annex in 98 acres into our city. That those 98 acres that are annexed into our city have also been master planned to bring 38 acres of new open space and park system. In addition to that, we have brand new trail systems that we have just opened up in the last 18 months. In addition to that, we have created new plans to take and put trail systems along some of the canal services that we have. We've added bike lanes. We just received a brand new grant that, as a result of serving on the Wasatch Front Regional Council, which will realign the road system so that we can have active transportation on the roads. There are many things that we're doing to bring open and green space.
Thank you. What is the role of the city manager? As mayor, would you change that role in any way?
We have a government right now that is controlled by, first of all, elected officials. That's a mayor and 5 councilmen, 1 from each one of the districts. The city manager is a vital portion of our city. He takes direction directly from the city council. And we've already implemented changes. And if I add John over there, he'd probably shake his head, much to his chagrin, that we've changed things. One of which we did is that we decided you can't decide what you're going to do in the city with a single visioning meeting once a year. So we now hold them quarterly. And as a result of holding them quarterly, we now have an opportunity to define specific objectives and vision and view so that he knows the direction the council would have him go. So I guess if there's a change, it would be continuing to give proper, sound direction through great vision from the council and the mayor. Boy, that was good. You see that? You just read that right now.
Yeah, if everyone in this room isn't familiar, the way the city is set up is we have 5 city council members and a mayor. In many ways, the city council is the central source of the decisions in the city. The mayor is more of a moderator. He can set forth a vision. He or she can chair the meetings. But it's the city council that has the votes. The only time that the mayor can cast a vote is in the absence of a member of the city council. And so it's interesting that this meeting's better attended than the city council meeting, because the city council is really where the power is held. That being said, our current system is that the city council and the mayor are not paid a lot, and we have a city manager who answers to the city council. And I think that's a good system, because when we elect people, they are citizens, they're not aristocrats, I mentioned that in my opening, and they're not people that are paid a full-time salary. And I think it's a good system, because we have much better representation than if we were to have a full-time professional politician. Thanks.
Well, my next question was, How do you feel about having a full-time mayor?
Good segue.
I don't like the idea of a full-time mayor, and I'll tell you why. Professional politicians want to accomplish something. They want to have something big on their resume. And a lot of times that big thing on their resume means big spending. When you bring citizens in that are paying taxes, that are being subject to the regulations of the rules, that are brought in from the masses, they're more likely to ask for a lighter touch government than a professional politician was. A professional politician must say, look what I've done. Obamacare is a classic example of that. If the city were to grow to the size of, say, 100,000, we may look at us transitioning to the full-time mayor, or if there started to be so much crime that the mayor had to deal with problems that was beyond 30 or 40 hours a week, then we need to transition to that full-time mayor. But the city's not there yet. We're at 56,000.
Once again, there's a lot of bad facts out there. There are individuals that are purporting that I'm an advocate, that I want to be a full-time mayor. Never been discussed. Never been on an agenda. Never been in a closed meeting. Never had any dialogue. Never has any communication ever come up that, you know what, we need to pay you more. The reality of the situation is that I am vested. I'm heavily vested at 30, 35 hours a week. There will come a time in this city, and it might be sooner than later, that the city is going to be best served to have a full-time mayor. It's not today. And I'm certainly not advocating that. But the reality is, someday, that will be the case. We're approaching our next level. We will soon become a city of the B class, which means we reach a specific population. When that happens, there are more responsibilities that will be laid upon the shoulder of the mayor.
The person asking this question says that I feel that the city council is divided. Can anything be done to fix this?
Perception's usually overwhelming, but bad facts, once again, out there. Better than 90% of the time, this city council votes unanimously. Better than 90% of the time. Now, when you have at least 5 or 6 strong people, meaning they've got great opinion, they've got desire, they've got passion, do you think that there might be a difference of opinion? Of course. The reality is that kind of difference of opinion brings strength to your government, because then we get to explore numbers of different ideas and then make an appropriate decision. 90+%, probably very appropriate. Thank you.
Well, I think the question has more relevance to the contention that occurred in the city council, and I don't know if any one individual is responsible for that. But the rookie in the room, by the way, Mayor Osborne had 0 city experience before he was appointed to be the mayor. So just want to let you know we are on a pretty level playing field. But the rookie has read the Utah Handbook of Cities and Towns, and it says, we advise to never reprimand in public, but to rather reprimand in private. What the city council did a few months ago was to reprimand a certain member of the city council in public, and they didn't do it in private. They did it in public. It was a bad experience, and it rippled throughout the city, and that's where that question comes from. I think it was a mistake. I think that city council member was making a free speech statement as his right, and it didn't call for a public reprimand. And so that was some of the decisions. You know, if you read the handbook, it'll help you avoid those mistakes in the future.